Good evening. My name is Alfred Hitchcock, and welcome. Oh, right, Edgar Allan Poe. I always get those two. Don't worry. One more. Good evening. My name is Edgar Allan Poe. Welcome to my favorite classic story.
The wind was whistling, shutters rattling, as I tossed and I turned in my bed, trying desperately to fall asleep. It was a sunny afternoon, for I worked the night shift. If I didn't figure out what was eating at me, I might never fall asleep again. It seemed possible at the time, eh? It was like trying to fall asleep on the ground next to railroad tracks. The possibility of a train approaching ever present, just like in my video dream, which you can see by going to www.archive.org and then doing a search for my name.
Jonathan D. Steinhoff. So, what was this all about? How did this all get started? Well, you know, the context in which people see things isn't an automatic factor. It's how much you can stand to see. What context is within your parameter of you can follow. Perhaps I should illustrate. The way I see this situation started right here. What's wrong? It's not working. What's that?
Your pocket.
Started right there. What's that?
Your pocket.
My pocket? Oh yes, my pocket. One moment, please. My pocket.
You're welcome.
What are we looking at? The history of the 2006 midterm elections.
The election.
In terms of how it relates to Recipe for Fun.
Recipe for Fun.
Former presidential candidate John Kerry.
Kerry.
Recipe for Fun. My video where I left out the Heinz ketchup as the comedy ingredient. Not as a food ingredient, but as a comedy ingredient, Heinz ketchup. The following day, John Kerry, the former presidential candidate, who's married to the woman who was married to the Heinz fortune, and is still associated with Heinz, he had a missing comedy ingredient too. Just one word. Instead of saying, in the actual sentence that was the thing that seemed so much in dispute, his sentence was, you get stuck in a rock. He meant to say, you get us stuck in a rock. Therefore, it all came down to one word. And that's what it was all about. One word as a comedy ingredient. And of the very day preceding that, my Recipe for Fun, which related to a missing comedy ingredient, Heinz ketchup. Will Ferrell happens to be very much within the sphere of people to whom I sent the Recipe for Fun thing. The Recipe for Fun thing with the Heinz ketchup as the missing comedy ingredient thing. I write an open letter to Will Ferrell on Tuesday, election day. The following day, Will Ferrell and Dustin Hoffman, both co-stars of a movie opening on Friday, are on late night television. Dustin Hoffman on the David Letterman show, Will Ferrell on the Conan O'Brien show. This was immediately following my open letter to Will Ferrell. Therefore, I'm paying particular attention, not just to Will Ferrell, but to Dustin Hoffman. Let's all pay particular attention to Dustin Hoffman.
We have an update here on the spaghetti surpriso. You left out something?
Yeah, I left out. I don't know why. I'm a little nervous, but after you do all that with the spaghetti, you add 2 big jars of Paul Newman marinara sauce, and then that's it.
that's...
A missing ingredient. See how it all connects together? How often does a person do a whole recipe, he had done a whole recipe thing in the previous segment, and then come back later and say he left out an ingredient to the whole thing? How often does that happen? Not very often. And then we have Will Ferrell later that night on Conan O'Brien.
Writing, and Dustin Hoffman plays this professor of literature who's helping me kind of figure out what kind of story I'm in. And I think we have a clip that shows a little bit of our exploration together.
You and Dustin Hoffman? Okay,
Yeah.
let's take a look at this clip from Stranger Than Fiction.
Can I have some orange juice?
Orange juice, right. Right, one OJ, one up. For the kid.
Daddy, it's burning! It's burning!
What?
It's burning!
Oh, damn it! Oh, damn her!
It feels like we just shot that yesterday, you know?
That was Kramer versus Kramer.
I thought it was. You bastard.
What did I do?
So there you see, you have Wednesday night, Will Ferrell doing the thing that was in relation to the Dustin Hoffman thing earlier the same evening, Dustin Hoffman, his co-star. And then you have my open letter to Will Ferrell that I sent to the person who I had previously sent the recipe for fun thing, which had to do with the missing ingredient, missing comedy ingredient thing. See how this all comes together. Because Dustin Hoffman's talking about recipes connected back to the chef being on letterman, so it makes the whole thing harder to connect back together.
And tonight, ladies and gentlemen, Jamie will be preparing linguine alla carbonara.
Oh, yeah.
How could they know there would be a chef on David Letterman? When did they schedule the chef?
So we don't know what it means, what it means, what it means. That should put your mind at rest. Guess I'm done here. Over and out, as they say at the end of all Edgar Post stories.